Hey everyone, so it's that time of year again when Apple and a lot of software providers update all their software. So this time iPadOS is updated to iPadOS 14 and with it comes quite a few new features, and I thought I'd do a little video to walk you through these features before we roll out the update to your devices. Enjoy! Here I am on my iPad and you will see maybe immediately that here on the left hand side I've got a widget. Now widgets are new in iPadOS and also in iOS if you've got an iPhone. It's been on other platforms for a while, but I'm going to talk you through how these work, and pretty much what it allows you to do is to see some information at a glance without having to open an app. So it's pretty useful for things like the weather. I can see, for example, that Friday it's going to rain without having to open my weather app, which is quite nice. I'm going to show you how that works. So what you want to do is you want to find an empty space of your home screen. So maybe not this one because it's pretty full, but over there, it doesn't really matter where there's an empty space. Press and hold and you'll see they start jiggling your apps, and then also on the left hand side you'll see here at the very top I've got keep on home screen, which I've turned on. If you turn that off, it just means that these widgets will go and sit here on the left hand side and you have to swipe across to get access to them. I like them on my home screen all the time, so I've turned them on. So now if I want, for example, access to my calendar without having to open the calendar app, I can go up to the top and click plus, and I'm going to actually show you how to make a smart stack because that's very nice. So I want to add calendar. And you've got three sizes to choose from: a little square, which gives you the next upcoming assignment type thing, or maybe two, the next upcoming events rather. You've got this little one, which is a bit more of a rectangle, and then you've got this big square one, which I quite like. So I'm going to add this widget, and what I'm going to show you is that because this widget is the same size as the weather widget, there's only three options, you'll see what it will allow me to do. It will allow me to drag one on top of the other and turn it into what is known as a stack. So if you pay careful attention here, you'll see two little dots. So those dots, if I flick up and down, will let me flick between these two widgets without having to take up any more space. So I quite like that. I'm in fact going to show you one more time because I also want to add the battery widget so I can see what my Apple Pencil is like. Don't worry about the fact that there's nothing there. I'm going to click plus again. I'm going to find my batteries widget, and I've got the small one, the slightly larger one, or the big one. You can only stack widgets of the same size. So I'm going to click add widget. It's not in the right place, but I will drag it on top of that one and let go. And you'll see now my two dots have become three dots. And when you're done, you can just tap anywhere where you in the open space like you did before. You don't have to long press this time. And you see now that there is my widget in place. So I can now flick up and down to cycle through my three widgets. So I've got my Apple Pencil is charged, I can see my events, and I can also see the weather. Very nice little new feature with widgets. You can also add smaller widgets. They will go and sit maybe down here. You can rearrange them. The next feature I want to talk about is probably my favorite, and hopefully the one you're going to be using a lot and benefit from the most. And this is something Apple calls Scribble. So your Apple Pencil is pretty useful now, but hopefully with this update it becomes even more useful. One of the things you'll see is when you do your little flick down, I know I talk a lot about gestures and how useful gestures are on your iPad, but the one finger little flick down anywhere in the middle of your screen brings up your search bar, and it doesn't take up your whole screen anymore, as you notice. It now just puts a little pop-up window so you can still see the things going on around in the background. And yes, you could start typing there and search for docs and it'll bring up some suggestions. But what you now can do is any text field on your iPad, you can use your pencil to write with, and it will convert that handwritten note into text and search for it. So if I write in there docs, then it'll automatically convert that into text, and I can then go and search for it and find it. Also, what it will allow me to do is if I realize I've made a mistake, I can just scribble it out like so and start again. Okay, so if I now want to search for drive, that was very badly written, but it recognizes it, because it uses something called machine learning, and the more you use it, it will actually recognize your horrible handwriting and recognize your ease and find it more effectively. So that is a really, really nice feature, and I'm actually going to dive into notes to show you even more about how this works. So I'm here in my notes application, and I've got a new note open, and I've called it Scribble. And if you look here at the top, if I tap on the pen icon, it opens up my quite familiar toolbox that lets me choose all my tools, my pens, my erasers. And if I just select the normal pen, as you guys know from iOS 13, it will allow me to write things like this is a test. So I've written that, and that behaves like you would expect. However, what you can now do is if you tap and hold on a word, you can select that word, and you can use the slider to drag and select the whole sentence if you like. And if you then tap again, you will see that you have an option to copy as text. And if I copy as text, I can then lower down my page. If I click somewhere else, I can tap and the paste option appears, and I can actually paste things that I've written down as text, which is a really useful feature. Imagine writing down loads of notes as a student and then copying them across into a Word document or a Google Doc. Fantastic. But there's even more, and what I'd like to show you is by selecting my pen tool, you might have noticed that to the left of my normal pen, there's now another pen with this little A on it. And selecting this, by the way, the A, that's like the universal symbol for a text tool in Explain Everything or whatever, you'll maybe see that. So what this will do is it will still allow me to write by hand. If I go, my name is John, you'll see that it automatically converts the handwriting into text. So that is a useful feature. I can write and it just automatically, as I'm writing, converts it. What I can do even more so is I can, if I just move that down a bit, if I want to change my name is John to something else, I can in there, of course, scratch it out and write, actually, I want to change it to William. My name is William. I might also realize that I've made a little mistake and I should not have separated some of those words. So let's say I wanted name and is to be one thing. I can just draw a little line in between and that will merge them. I can draw the line again to separate them. If I want to specify that it's not just my name but my first name, I can press and hold in between my and name and then write in there first, and what it'll do is it will automatically fill that in there for me. That's great. I can circle to select, and these are just some of the nice features that really make using your pencil on your iPad a little bit better and a little bit easier. I'm going to go back to selecting my normal pen. Let's make it red this time, and maybe also make it a little bit thicker. Now, if you're anything like me, drawing shapes, I'm not very good at it, but what you can now do is just press and hold that little shape a little bit longer before you lift up your pen. So draw it and hold it, and it'll automatically convert it to a shape of a more nice looking proportion. It works with triangles, works with circles, it works with hearts, it works with clouds. This works very nicely across your iPad. If you remember taking a screenshot using your pencil from the bottom left, swiping up, that brings up screenshot. And even in here, if I want to highlight the note that is called file this, just select my tool and you will see that it makes a nice little word cloud that I can use, and I can then with my selected tool drag it to where I want it to be, position it quite nicely. I can also do straight lines, I can do arrows. So these things are very useful to kind of just give your writing and handwriting a bit more of a professional look and feel. So there you have some of the new features available in iPadOS 14. It will be coming to your iPad shortly. When you get the notification to update, please do so when is appropriate. It might take, I don't know, about an hour. It'll download and then install. Hope you enjoyed this video.